Welcome to the Dating Kinky Podcast, a cast about love, sex, romance, and kink. Sometimes when I tell my partner something out of the blue, like, have I told you lately that I adore you? Hey, guess what? What? You're sexy as fuck. My life is better with you in it. I never don't want you, just so you know. His eyes will get warm and crinkly, and he'll smile, and then he'll ask, did your alarm just go off? And I get mock offended and tell him that I don't need reminders anymore. That was years ago. And I laugh because it's true. I used to set reminders to train myself to do things that most humans do naturally. As a matter of fact, because I didn't know what most humans do naturally, it turns out I set reminders to do things sometimes better and more often than most humans do. But in the time frames that I thought that they should. So I trained my brain. And I don't need to do that anymore. Not for this particular thing anyway. But I did. I set calendar reminders to tell people I appreciate them. Well, I don't anymore, but I used to. Here's why. I write a lot about communication. It's important to be able to express needs in a relationship, to discuss our emotions and to be vulnerable, to set and then maintain personal boundaries, to say uncomfortable things compassionately, to overcome misunderstandings and to bridge gaps. And obviously, lots of people have trouble with these things. You know what isn't so obvious though? Like, so not obvious that I've been missing it for years. Even when it hits me so hard, I damn near get whiplash. That people also have challenges with saying things like, I appreciate you. You are amazing to me. Thank you. I want you. Your eyes just make me melt. You make my life better. I love how you make me laugh. Not just the habitual, I love you when you leave or end a phone call or whatever. Some people are pretty good about this at the beginning of a relationship, during the NRE or new relationship energy phase. But most aren't really, unless it's directly related to things about you that make them want to bang. You're sexy. I love your lips. Your ass is to die for. Which are also very nice to hear, but not what I'm talking about. Many people don't say good things about their partners on a regular basis. In fact, I'd hazard to say that many people, most people, don't give good feedback regularly at all to anyone. And over the years, this has been made clear to me by how many people are shocked when I compliment them just because. Even people I date, people I have sex with, people that it should be natural and expected that I feel good things about. And each time I was shocked that they were shocked. And finally, it hit me. I can be slow sometimes. Like, this is a missing skill. And it's one I developed for myself so I can share with you how I developed it. Positive reinforcement is missing. I first really recognized this in dog training. People focused on punishments and what was not working with their puppers and held back praise until they got what they wanted, which is the wrong fucking way to do things. With puppers and with people. Because it starts a cycle of, well, I can't praise them because this thing didn't go right. And that in turn reduces the joy and the connection and more things go wrong. And the poor pups would be so confused because it seemed like nothing got them the good stuff and made their people happy which is all they really wanted. This happens in relationships too. Small annoyances build up, and the nice things we say slow down to a trickle or die off, and then it's like we get nothing right and everything starts turning into fights and scuffles. When instead, we should always be looking for ways to praise and reward even for the smallest things, and punish or give negative feedback as rarely as possible. It's not always conscious. I'm not saying that we always think so clearly and say to ourselves, I'm going to hold this back because I'm cranky. Sometimes we do that. Most of the time, though, we don't even really think about the good things when annoyances and resentments build up. We don't see the small gestures or appreciate them when we're fuming about something else. It's almost as if we turn off the attractions and appreciation and gratitude in our minds when we are not perfectly happy. Which is why the good stuff starts tapering off as NRE slows down or ends and reality begins to sink in. But here's the thing. Saying good things to your partner is good for you too. Some geeky, sciencey brain stuff. There's a feedback loop I love to use when I'm doing hypnosis and behavior modification. It goes like this. 1, trigger them to think with conversations or questions. 2, listen to the words they use. 3, feed what I want back to them using their words. 4, their brain accepts it more readily because it's familiar language. It's the language they use when they're talking to themselves. And you can use this on yourself. Ever heard of affirmations? They do work, not like magic, but they could make a difference if you use them right. Just like visualization practice can improve your skills, and you can do it to yourself. I do it to myself all the time. 1, think about, visualize possibly, what I appreciate about my partner. 2, say it out loud to my partner. 3, hear myself say it. 4, my brain feels reinforced and strengthens that appreciation. 5, bonus, partner responds with positive reinforcement like smiles or love, and I feel good. When was the last time you said something negative or nagging to your partner? Do you know? Was it in the last hour? The past day? The past week? How many times in the past week or month do you think you've said something like, I wish you'd fill in the blank more often? I hate when you fill in the blank. You never fill in the blank. Why don't you fill in the blank? Etc. And how many times have you given your partner genuine appreciation and positive feedback in that same period? Told them you desire them, that you adore their personality, that they are fascinating to you, or that your life is better with them as a part of it. For that matter, when was the last time you did this for your friends? And I don't mean in a words of affirmation way, although that's nice if it's one of your partner's love languages. I mean this in an it makes your relationship and your life better way. Genuinely telling people how grateful and attracted you are reinforces that gratitude and attraction. Which I guess is part of why people don't do it. Because when we're feeling cranky or insecure or troubled about something, it's incredibly vulnerable to feel that attraction and gratitude, and even more so to speak it out loud. What if they use it against us? What if it gives them leverage? What if they don't care? And so we shut down, which harms our partners, harms our relationships, and stunts us emotionally. Because it shuts down the parts of us that really love and open up to others. It makes us more likely to notice and speak the negative things and less likely to notice and speak the positive things. And some of you will recognize this in yourself. You're happy and complimentary at the beginning of a relationship, although maybe not as much as you could be, but it eventually slows down. And you probably have plenty of justifications. After all, it's not like you're doing it intentionally. You just don't feel it anymore. which may be true, in which case it might be time to leave. Oh, wait, you don't want to leave? Well, why not? Because when you think about it, you think about what's working, exactly the things you should be speaking to your partner, because they are actually really sweet, because they make you smile, because they're an amazing lover, because they give good cuddles, because you love them. Why? That is where you're going to start hopefully finding the good stuff that you're not great at acknowledging. Calendar reminders for the win. You're gonna laugh. I laugh at myself. But hear me out, because real behavior modification works. It's about creating a habit. Set a reminder. Create an event in your calendar. Then copy and paste it in random intervals of 1 to 4 days, no more than 4 days, for 3 months. If you're a total geek and you want it truly random, use the random integer generator and make the values between 1 and 4. I'll put the link in the show notes. Also, change the times to move throughout the day. Then, when your alarm goes off, pause and think of something amazing and positive about your partner or friend or kid or whatever, and figure out a way to tell them. Send an email. Call them. Say it to them if they're with you. Get them a card. Send it with a meme. Text them. Put a note in their lunch or on their pillow or on their computer screen. Sounds contrived? It is. But it's also a good way to get back in the habit of thinking and saying good things to others. And eventually you'll be at the point where you'll think more good things habitually and you'll say them more naturally as well. And it may take another 3 months or a year or longer to get good at it. It took me a long time. But we all have to start somewhere. And being bad at saying good things is far better than not saying them at all. But what if I'm upset with them? What if they're being an asshole? What if they're being inconsiderate? What if I'm annoyed? That's okay. You can be upset with someone's behaviors and still love the way they make you laugh, or their eyes, or the way they hold your hand while you argue. What if they take that to mean that I'm not upset anymore or I've forgiven them? Gently correct them. You can both appreciate them and feel that they're not listening to you in the way you need them to right now, or they are shirking their responsibilities, or that they are being inconsiderate. But really, won't that make them feel like they can just keep being that way? Maybe. Maybe it will also take some of the stress and pressure out of your relationship and allow them to feel valued and less defensive. And if they do feel like they can keep being that way just because you're not being a total butt nugget about it, well, that tells you something about your partner, doesn't it? I think so. And I always think it's worth telling people when they're awesome, for no other reason than they are, and the world doesn't offer that sort of thing often enough for any of us. What are your thoughts? Do you make it a point of telling people positive things about themselves? Like, if you asked your partner or partners and friends today, do I communicate how much you mean to me? What do you think they'd say? Or do I tell you good things about you often enough? Here's a challenge. Ask them, and then share it if you're willing. Thank you for joining me today. If you loved this episode, please share it with others who would enjoy it. And please do join me on our new apps available in the Google Play and Apple App Stores. Dating Kinky. It's built by Kinksters for Kinksters, poly, queer, trans folk, and anyone not quite vanilla, and it's free. Find me on FetLife as Nookie Notes, and on Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Facebook, and Medium as Dating Kinky. We're on Instagram as Dating Kinky Official, all one word. Also, find me on the new Moan app in beta for iPhone. I'm Miss Nookie there. TheMonapp.com. Have a kinky day, and I'll catch you next episode.